Okay. Good. Good after. Yeah, you know, hey, I'll go with whatever works here. Good afternoon, everyone. TGT Media and Entertainment Industry Interview Podcast, where we interview the creative minds from the comic, film, music, and game publishing industry. And of course, I'm your host, Kurt. We are joined today on this beautiful, snowy, up here in Canada, Sunday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is here, joined by a wonderful married couple, new parents, comic creators, Kickstarter campaigners, and of course, you know, we've had them on the show before, but welcoming them back here, we of course joined by the creators of theend comic, Brown and Cory Brown. How you guys doing today?
Not bad at all.
Pretty awesome. Baby free for at least a few hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, first off, congratulations on that. I'm glad to see that you guys look like you're getting sleep. I can't really tell, but
we're good at keeping up appearances.
Yeah. Especially now that she's old enough to be teething, it's basically she wakes up like 6 times a night, just like crying unconsolably, and you're just like, well, goodbye, sleep.
Yeah, it gets rough. Dad's got to take care of her for the afternoon while Mom gets some art done.
Yeah,
we kind of take shifts.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, you could always do the whole Jack Daniels trick on the gums.
Oh.
I've actually had several relatives suggest that, and I'm not going to do that.
Start them young.
I was Googling that, and so many people are just like, your baby will get a taste for alcohol. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Yeah, I drink, and I can tell you with authority that alcohol tastes kind of gross in and of itself. So, no, I don't think my baby will.
Yeah.
That's where parenting comes in.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah, you have to teach them to enjoy alcohol.
When they're old enough. Maybe.
Sure.
A little bit before that, probably. As long as they're doing it in the house and not, like, at some creepy apartment in downtown Ottawa with strangers.
Yeah, like that Kurt guy.
No, Ottawa, I've never been there, so who knows? At least not in a creepy apartment complex that, you know, was down by the river. But, you know, it's okay, really. Your comic is... Hey, I'll go with whatever works here, honestly. I can flow with whatever thought processes you guys have, so whatever works for me, too. But let's go back to the comic itself, because you finally have gotten into a bit of the backstory with the alien characters, of course, which is wonderful to finally wrap that portion up. And now we see a bit of dichotomy between the two. We see maybe a slow relationship starting to form with that as well, rather than just, you know, commander and navigator type deal. Like, I'm surprised the humans haven't like rebelled or revolted yet. It's just like they're just along for the ride.
It's one of those, like, what could they really do? I mean, they can't fly the ship themselves, so, you know, their options are get lost in space forever and probably eventually starve to death, or maybe the aliens will let them go home, because they don't really seem like bad guys. They're just kind of...
And there was a little bit of that fomenting right towards the end of the last chapter there, too, where Victor and Henry and them were talking about, you know, going out with Ethma and all that, and Trish is sort of asserting herself and saying, okay, no, we're going to take part in the administrative process here. Like, you have to listen to what we have to say. So there was some pushing back there. And then, of course, when they decide to kind of make their own rules and overstep their bounds, Henry ends up, you know,
messing everything
up. So that there was an attempt at that, and it ended poorly. So that's obviously going to be a bit of a pivotal point in the plot. But in a couple of chapters after the next one, there's going to be some talk of how the human crew, or the human passengers rather, are adapting to being stuck on this ship for so long, and how things are changing with this sort of one-sided community.
Right now, I guess the goal is just to take everything slow, so we can kind of, you know, it goes, because I always read, like, I used to read a lot of webcomics when I had time to do that. That was before baby. But like, it always bothered me when, you know, two characters who'd just met or whatever, just like the pacing is in a way that it seems like they've known each other for a day, and then they're like best friends by the end of that day, and I'm just like, probably not gonna work in this situation. So we've been really careful at like mapping it out, and there are so many things that are going to just add to each kind of set of characters' relationships and how they're functioning together, but just it's going to take time.
Yeah, there's an enormous amount of character development bound up in the planned storyline. Like, the story as it comes is almost entirely driven by the changing personalities and motivations of the characters involved. So there's going to be a great deal of exposition.
Yeah,
when it
and the
comes to
only
characters.
issue is that we've got such a large cast that it's going to take a while to cycle through them. So
Yeah, for everyone
we're
to get
trying
their chance
to
in the spotlight.
group them together in ways that make sense, that we can kind of develop a few characters at the same time and then switch over to another group.
Yeah, I think basically every named character that's been in a panel at least once up to this point that isn't dead, obviously, like Axka, has like a major role of some sort in the coming plot. I think even Gorth comes back too.
Yep.
Yeah. No, everybody has like an important role in the story.
Which is unfortunate because a ton of characters were introduced in the past chapter that were all on like the Ith ship, and all of them are
play a part as well.
playing a pretty big part.
But I mean, I feel like that's kind of a good thing, though. Like, there are so many comics out there where it's even worse in books and literature.
It's
but
so easy to draw a throwaway character that you use for like one scene, and I've been doing it with like aliens and stuff like that. And there are a few characters later on that are like weird, funky looking aliens that are main characters. But I mean, it's nicer when you can be like, okay, this person is pivotal for this scene. They're here. They're part of this. Are they going to come back? And the answer is generally yes for us, because
I feel like there's way too many stories out there in various kinds of media where you'll have dozens of characters who are named who have like some minor personality quirk that show up like once and are completely irrelevant thereafter. Like, if you're going to put somebody in front of the reader or viewer and give them a name and some hint of a personality, I think there should be at least a little bit of exposition there. Just give some idea of who that character is or what they're about, even if they only have a very minor part in the story. Like, because I don't understand the need for that, for there to be a character there with a name and with a little bit of effort put into fleshing them out, if they're not actually going to do anything. Because it's more names to remember, it's more confusing, and I think giving them a little bit more of a role in the story and having them be significant, even in a minor way, makes it easier to keep track of the story and how everything fits together, because then everything has a clear place.
Yeah, but we're super getting ahead of ourselves. There's so much left.
It almost sounds like you guys have like a character flowchart or something like that, like with that type of interaction.
But we have a ton of Google Docs that are just like pages.
If we were to take that information and put it in a flowchart, then we would have a character flowchart, yes.
Yeah. Like, right now, I feel like we could probably take all the, like, world-building stuff we have and make, like, a friggin' campaign setting for, like, a tabletop game. We've got that much.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Which is, it makes sense because that is what Cory does for fun. When I asked him to write this, I was just like, you're good at this kind of thing, and you can, like, if I'm like, here, I want to do this vague idea, he's just like, okay, make that not stupid, and manages to, like, build it in a way that it's really awesome.
That's how we're going to make that not stupid. It's here. Let's build a framework around that so that it has some internal consistency.
Yeah, and I don't think I can do that by myself, so I'm really happy he's writing it, and I'm
Fair
not.
Enough. I couldn't do art like that. I'm almost that good, but no, I have trouble with crayons.
And I have trouble with all media, but I'm forced to learn with school, so, what can you do? What about in terms of being new parents, being, with a beautiful daughter, and what, besides, would you like a bird? I'll give you a bird for free.
We have a dog, 2 cats, and a snake that wants to kill us in our sleep. So
perfect. The bird will fit in just great.
I'm sure the snake will think so.
What challenges besides being new parents to this game? You're actually increasing your productivity as well, which is usually people scale back. You're increasing it. Are you trying to like ignore the kid and just get the comic done?
Well, I mean, I'm at home the entire day, so my entire day is just play with a baby and make sure she's eating and changing clothes and cleaning barf off everything.
Yeah, you do some tracking social media and whatnot during the day.
I mean, I can do a lot of like social media crap from my phone. which is good because I need it on me at all times, or else I would go crazy. But the way it works is Cory will get home from work, and then I go to work, which is upstairs until like 1 a.m.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we take shifts. Dad comes home and watches over the baby, and Mom goes upstairs and does the art. And then when Dad's at work on lunch break or whenever he's got time, we'll use a Google Doc or something to coordinate for
which I can
building and
again
scripting and
go
dialogue,
through on my phone, so I can see what he's doing as he's doing it and yell at him if he's not doing anything.
So there's a lot of working by degrees, but it seems to be working so far.
And the reason we're upping our productivity is we recently joined up with Hiveworks, and they've been super awesome for us because they really know what they're doing over there, and they're like, you're only updating once a week, which was actually the plan for the first year. And they're like, well, most web comics will update like 3 times a week, which, keeps people coming back multiple times a week. And I'm just like, okay, no, that's cool. Let's see if I can get back twice a week, which we actually started doing again this past week. So we're updating twice a week again. My buffer is still really big because it turns out I can do about 6 pages in 1 week if I just sit down and go. So as long as I can keep that up, 3 pages in isn't a huge stretch, and we're basically right now trying to build the buffer up, and the plan is to be doing 3 updates a week by the end of the summer. So, if it's doable, I'm going to do it because, we really started getting some major traffic recently, which is really, really nice. So gotta kind of live up to that and keep providing content.
It gets a little bit easier as we go along too, as we sort of find our feet and get the hang of being parents. Like the first 2-3 months, we're just like, oh my God, what are we doing? We have no idea what we're doing. But once we sort of got the hang of it, it's actually a lot easier now. It's still stressful sometimes, and we still don't sleep very much. But we know what we're doing now, at least. So
it's a lot easier. Like, you'll get into a rhythm, and then she'll eventually throw a curveball at you where you're like, okay, well, now you can do whatever. So now we have to kind of group and figure out how we're going to make this work.
Yeah, now every time you start falling asleep, you punch yourself in the head over and over, and I can't figure out how to make you stop.
The biggest thing is she's totally going to be crawling soon. So that will make everything about 800 times harder.
And more terrifying.
So we actually spent the last week like baby gating off everything, which has been great because it keeps the dog out of places we don't want her to go into. We got new couches that were not leather like our old ones, so if she gets on them, I will literally have to spend like 4 hours vacuuming a couch. So
the dog, not the baby.
Yes.
No, if the baby gets on the couch, the dog is being on, she'll try and eat the fur that she finds.
Yeah.
Which is also a problem.
Yes. Right now, she's been trying to eat the cats. They're super interesting and delicious, apparently, and they don't really appreciate that.
So, long story short, one of us has to be with her at all times, keeping an eye on her and keeping her distracted. Obviously, she's a baby.
Except for right now, because my mother totally bored her for the day. So
yes, grandmothers are a valuable resource.
Yes.
Any parents out there would be wise to take advantage of them.
Cory's mother has actually been taking her twice a week during the afternoons, so I can just sit down and work.
Is a huge help as well.
Yes. So 2 days out of the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get to start my work day at between noon and 2, and then work until 1 in the morning. So I managed to get a lot done still. I feel like it's so funny. I have to really maximize on every bit of free time I have so that I can get this stuff done. And I really wish that I had been let's do this like that, before I even got pregnant, because then my buffer would be 60 pages now instead of 12. So.
Well, we'll talk about the other exciting news besides, having a brand new child is, of course, your Kickstarter campaign, which as soon as I saw that, a lot of the webcomic followers that have been on the show and people that I've talked with as well immediately went and supported your campaign, which is wonderful. Now, tell us what that campaign's all about.
Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to make the first two parts of the book, which is 188 pages altogether, into a book. And then we've got a 10-page extra story that's also going in there. A lot of people were telling us, oh, you should make a book after part 1 finished, but it was about 75 pages. And it just, while it felt like a complete story, I was just like, oh, it's so short.
Yeah, it's nice
waited
to have a book that you can read through, but if it's going to be one of those little flimsy soft cover things, like we'd really rather deliver something more substantial, something you can really just pick up and get absorbed in.
So the final book is going to be 208 pages.
Yeah.
And we set our goal pretty low, but that's because Hiveworks is, again, awesome. Like, we've got money set aside for the book in advance, so a lot of it is already paid for. We just want to kind of offset all the costs and the shipping and all that other stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to meet halfway.
We're trying to meet halfway, which is not a bad idea, and it just makes it a lot more doable and a lot easier on us.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we're trying to do is I'm not really sure, because I had to sign an NDS for Hiveworks.
Say what you can say, and
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't, but you need to
probably wasn't
not
there
do that.
for that, so.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're not disclosing right now. So.
Oh, okay. Hiveworks is really awesome, and basically, like, any extra costs and stuff like that, they're going to cover no problem. It's just, we don't want to be like paying them back with profits for the next 2 years or something like that, because part of what's keeping us doing the book is the fact that we do make money off of it, we need to use that money to put back into the book, or not the book, but the comic, or advertising, or conventions and things like that. And it's just a nice thing that just feeds itself and just keeps going, I guess, in a way that lets us keep doing it. So
it's something off of your mind, basically, is what it is, so you can focus on the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
The folks over at Hiveworks have been really good about investing in us. Sort of their business strategy seems to be making sure that everyone is getting what everybody needs, and that's something that's actually kind of new. Sort of economically speaking, in terms of comics in general, where they're hard.
They basically pay you to do what you're already doing to make sure that you can keep doing it.
Yeah, to make sure that everybody can keep benefiting and profiting and working together and maintaining.
Because
growth.
if we're not doing a comic, then they're not making any money. So why would they be working with us? It's that kind of thing.
It's a good business model, and I'm surprised it hasn't had more popularity compared to the weird draconian old way in a lot of media industries, where it's like, you're the owner and creator of this comic property. Okay, well, you get a pittance, and we just keep everything. I never really understood how that remained viable and sustainable, but I'm not an economist, so.
But I mean, the other nice part is there's a lot of comics in Hiveworks, and everybody's really nice, if a bit crazy and awesome, and it's really nice for networking and things like that. So it'll be weird seeing them all at conventions and stuff in the next coming several years. Yeah.
Looking forward to networking with them. It's be an interesting experience.
Yeah, definitely some good names there.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to taking the guy who runs it, Joe, out to a bar when he comes out here for TCAF, because he's totally only 20, turning 21 this year. So, and he's from Boston, so presumably it's a bit difficult for him to go looking. So we're going to get him Super Smashed just for fun.
Sounds like a plan.
Canadian welcome.
Exactly. Gotta love it.
Get him really drunk and then take him out for poutine and see if he can keep it down.
Hey, poutine is a great drunk. It's a good hangover food, too.
I guess.
Definitely. Or Chinese, whatever works.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
Have some General Tao's.
No. Okay. But, I mean, it's a lot of the reason we're doing the Kickstarter is for visibility, because one of the main advantages of doing a Kickstarter versus, an Indiegogo or, any of the other Kickstarter kind of clones is that people actually use Kickstarter. And it's considered to be a bit more reputable than Indiegogo, because you have to meet your goal. You can't just be like flexible funding and then run off with all the money that you make and never deliver like a lot of projects do over there. So it's
Yeah, the primary objective here is really just if you're in the Hiveworks office, people throw words around like market penetration, but we're just looking for a greater readership. It's building exposure. We're looking to maintain growth. We're trying to get more readers, potentially to sell more books, if not just get more people interested in the comic, because that gets us a little bit more ad revenue. And I think most importantly, like going back to our roots, we started it off for love of the game. Like we enjoyed making the comic and telling the story and seeing what people had to say about it and watching people speculate, and having more people showing up in the comments section or just talking about it or coming up to us at conventions and whatnot is a reward in and of itself too. It's just really cool meeting those people. I want to give out a shout out to Astrid actually, and retired Guard B, who I don't think ever told me his name, or if he did, I forgot it.
Yeah, we went to Ottawa Comic Con last year, and even though we didn't really have much to sell, we got a table, and just a lot of people came out of the woodwork who were like, oh, "You guys, we read your comic," and we were like, "What?
Yeah, it was
really?"
weird. Like our idea going there was nobody really reads our comic.
Yeah.
There's like 6 people that read our comic, but we'll go to this convention and we'll have a colorful sign and sell some stuff, and maybe people will read our comic after that. And then people are coming up like, "Oh my god, I love your comic." And we're just like, "What?" We have fans? How can this be?
They're in Ottawa?
Yes.
Because, I mean, like, in the scheme of things, we haven't really done a lot of local advertising at all, even though I really should take advantage of that. Because
Probably.
I kind of worked at a local comic book store for about 4 years.
And your friend
I know
manages it now.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect storm of opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, one of the reasons we haven't is just because I was waiting until we had, like, a book to sell. But I mean, like,
having something to put on the shelf makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I know we sell lots whenever you put, like, a thing right up at the front that's like, local comic artists. People are like, really? There are comic artists here? And buy them.
Brings out all the comic hipsters.
Yeah. Oh, no. But Kickstarter's been doing really well, though. Yesterday was its first day, and we're already, I think, at...
it's been like a day and a half.
Yeah, it's been like a day and a half. We're at like 66%. We're just under 2,000, so, looking really good. We've got a few stretch goals that we're working on, but for the most part, it's just get to the main goal and see where we go from there. Like, a lot of people
get it published,
come out and they're like, here are our stretch goals before they've even earned $1. I'm like, I want to think of things that people are actually going to want, and I'm not going to just like kind of dangle it over everybody's head until it's actually an issue.
Yeah, I think it's best when stretch goals are emergent, because if you have these really ambitious stretch goals and you like just barely meet your goal or don't meet it at all, then it really ends up, well, you do end up falling flat, and it ends up looking kind of ridiculous, and it hurts confidence in the Kickstarter. And if you come out without any real stretch goals or just minor ones, and then it really takes off, adding new stretch goals is a great way to feed that buzz and maintain the momentum and keep people interested.
Right now, once this interview is over, I'm basically going to spend the rest of the day just going through the Kickstarter and being like, all right, how can I make this more interesting,
jazzing it up a little
better,
bit,
like just kind of like, adding it up, and then we're going to do like a nice video like, hey, you guys have donated a lot of money, so here's, just to show you we're not sitting on our butts doing nothing, here's all the stuff that we've got for you guys. So
I think you should almost post this interview along with it.
We could do like a shout out back and forth thing.
But like it's just been really surprising so far. Like, I expected it to be kind of like a very slow climb, and then people were just like, whatever, like throwing money. Like, within the first few hours, somebody donated to like one of our $250 slots, which was, you get to be like in the comic as like a background character.
You make a cameo in the comic,
and you get all the other stuff. And I have no idea who they are. Like, I was just like, friends or family, did you do this? No? Okay. So, lots of... I
like to imagine it's just like an eccentric millionaire who hangs out on Kickstarter, and every time there's a Kickstarter that gives them the ability to have their likeness appear in something, they're like, done. They're just in everything.
It's that guy. He's been in all those comics. I don't even know his name.
I don't know his name either. It's just like a first name, and when we looked on like the stats, and we're like, oh, mystery guy. But yeah, I mean, it's so surprising, like the kind of response we've gotten already, just because I was expecting it to take like to the very end, me being like, oh god, are we gonna make it?
Burn, yeah.
But now I'm not even really worried at all.
We're quite confident we're at the very least going to meet our goal, so that's a good feeling.
So lots to do still, though. Like I would feel weird if I just sat here and watched it go up. So I've got a lot to do to kind of upkeep this.
Well, you're probably going to have to prepare for all of the tiers that you have as well, and I mean, are you kind of like trying to get that started before this Kickstarter finishes, kind of like preempt all that?
A lot of those we can't really do preemptively because it has to do with pick your favorite character and you get a sketch of them, things like that.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of work in the days to come.
There's going to be lots of work. They were actually talking about because all of the we couldn't do a Kickstarter because we're Canadian, but Hiveworks actually bought into our comic, so they technically own a bit of it. So basically, we can use the Hiveworks Kickstarter to actually do one because we technically have an American address and bank account. But the cool thing is they also host Go Get a Roomie comic and Sister Claire and a bunch of other ones. And I do believe it's Elena and Chloe are both off in Europe. And for them, it's actually easier for Joe to just ship them here than ship books to them to sign and sketch in and stuff like that. And he was just like, oh, maybe you could just come down to Boston for a week and sit in the Hiveworks apartment and draw things. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it just seems so much easier than him shipping books to me and then me shipping them back. So it's probably how that's gonna go down.
We'll see how that whole thing works out.
Yeah. And then you get to stay at home with a baby for a week.
She'll get a grandma time in a week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Also, I'm afraid that should be fun.
Really?
I hate airplanes. I've been on them 3 or 4 times and I hate them. They're horrible. But,
I didn't know that.
You were on with me every single time.
I thought that was just you being your normal tense self.
Nope.
Oh.
Hate airplanes. But I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. But I mean, everything's looking really good. Like I said, and there's the risks kind of part down at the bottom of the Kickstarter. I was I literally am having trouble thinking of risks because this is gonna be done regardless of whether we make this goal or not. It's a
fairly small amount of capital too. When you get into a 5 or 6 digit goal, then people obviously tend to subject you to a lot more scrutiny, and there are much greater risks involved. But it's just $3,000. I mean, it's pretty direct, point A to point B. We're looking to get published. There's not a lot of complications involved.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's nice just knowing that a lot of it is taken care of. Even the actually putting the book together, we're having some other people at Hiveworks help us do that to have put books together before.
It's a pretty solid skill base there, actually. It's very, very nice to be involved with them.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, you don't know how to do something. Somebody else knows how to do it and can either tell you how to do it or just do it for you. Which is good because I'm just I don't know any about this business stuff. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. So it's nice when someone's give me ads in this size and this size and this size. Go. And I'm like, cool, and do it in 15 minutes. Whereas if it was just me, I probably wouldn't make them at all because I would be doing something else. So.
Well, good stuff. Are you going to be at Fan Expo this year again?
No, we actually didn't go to Fan Expo last time. It was just a comic went to, and we're supposed to be going this year. We do have a table, but just because of when the books will be coming in, we're actually thinking of trying to get a refund from them and just meeting up with all the Hiveworks people who are going to be at TCAF because they have a table there. So our stuff will be sold at TCAF. which is nice.
Yeah, whether we're there or not.
Whether we're there or not. But I mean, it would be really nice to just get out there and meet everybody and, maybe spend some time behind the table.
Sell our own books.
Lunch. And I mean, like, people going to TCAF are going there specifically for, like, amateur books and things like that.
Ottawa Comic Con was a hell of an experience last time. Like, it was great.
But I mean, like, it was mostly, like, I hate to say it, like, how everyone's like, oh, San Diego Comic Con is just about movies and whatever. Like, the only panels and stuff that they had were like, let's listen to William Shatner do, like, weird poetry that he ended with, like, whale noises.
I'm so angry that I missed William Shatner going insane and performing whale song for his audience, because that sounds amazing. One of my friends was telling me about it, and I was like, God damn it. Why was I here being a responsible husband and businessman instead of watching William Shatner lose his mind? That sounds incredible. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what 90% of it was like, oh, we got all these guests and stuff like that, but I mean, unless you want to really just listen to some Q&A with William Shatner making whale poetry, I guess.
Well, there's an insane guest list this year.
There is. Like, they've got Will Wheaton and a bunch of other people. But, I mean, like, again, it's, like, all about that kind of guests. Like, we would literally just be, like, stuck in Artist Alley.
It's kind of an everything con.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's different. Like, I'm used to going to anime conventions and things like that. Like, I've been to Anime North a ton of times. And they generally have... a comic on, not a comic, a panel on making webcomics, a panel on webcomic guests, which they usually have a few of, demonstrations, things about writing and scripting.
Discrete subculture there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's sort of a known and expected hangout spot for creators. But probably a lot of it has to do with the fact that it was the first Ottawa Comic Con too. It's like kind of just everybody showed up because it's the first one there, and everyone wanted to see what it was about.
Their first year was crazy. Like, I think they sold out the Saturday at like 20,000 people, and they were like, we weren't expecting to do that well. And when we had people coming to our table, they were like, I was waiting in line to get in for like 2.5 hours, and the line wrapped all the way around the building twice, and we were like, okay.
We came straight in because we have
walk through the back door pass.
The joy being press as well, we can kind of walk into, so it works out.
And also ask uncomfortable questions.
Well, that's my job, or else I wouldn't be good at it. Darn it,
But I mean, Ottawa Comic Con is totally the same as TCAF, and I just feel like we'll have more fun at TCAF, and I know we're going again next year.
I think we can accomplish more there too.
Exactly.
I mean, that's where our colleagues are now, and it's kind of a different community over there as well. Like, I just think there's a lot more potential for growth there. I would like to make it back to Ottawa Comic Con just for a repeat visit to maybe see some of the same people. To have like a sustained presence there, I think it would be a really cool experience. But the smartest move might be going to TCAF. So we'll see what happens anyway.
Yep.
Well, best of luck with all of that too. Congratulations, of course, on being new parents, and of course with the Kickstarter book as well. That's wonderful. I know everything's going to work out well for you both, and you have another fellow Canadian reading your book, down south here, so it's all good. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend as well. And is there anything else you want to let the fans know before?
I don't think we really planned anything in particular.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like, I try to keep everybody, like, in our authors' comments, just like, this is coming up, so I can't really think of anything that I haven't already mentioned that's coming up.
I mean, we could end off with a great big thank you. The fans have been fantastic and supportive, and
thank you everybody who has totally put in money to buy the book so far, because that's crazy. That's awesome. And
especially
you guys are awesome.
Random $250 person within 2 hours. I don't know where that came from, but I'm not complaining, believe me.
You are currently my favorite person outside of this room.
You can buy our favor. I'm just putting that there.
Especially Corey.
Especially mine, yes. Yes. I'm a sellout, I'm not going to lie.
No, that's called marketing, and that's not selling out. That's marketing. Yeah. Big difference. Yeah. Of course, you can find Corey and
Candy.
Rory and Candy, yes.
Right. Yes.
I'm Candy.
Of course you are. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I was ending the show. Of course. Oh, God. All right, of course, you can see Rand and Corey's... Oh.
Kill them!
Just go to theend.com, whatever the website is, just insert that here. Just go to that website.
Excellent. My work here is done.